Welcome to the Car Edition YouTube channel. First feature is going to be a Peugeot Boxer. This is in for a full service. Let's take you through the steps. First thing we want to do is we want to get in the vehicle. We want to check washers, wipers and horn, and then the lights. So I'm going to run through the lights with Vlad now. Got side lights on, then we've got headlights, flash, right indicator, including the side repeater, left indicator, including the side repeater, foot brake, right indicator, left indicator, reverse lights, and then fog. When I was using the indicators, I also kept my foot on the brake. This is to check for any bad earth connections. See if the brake lights start flashing when I turn the indicators on too. So now washers, wipers, horn. We got nothing. First thing we're going to do then is we're just going to put a little bit of water in the screen wash bottle just to see if it's due to lack of water or whether there's an actual issue. I don't think there's an issue because I can hear the pump. If not, something's blocked up. So let's get the water in here. This is where we check the power steering fluid, the antifreeze and the brake fluid. And water in that screen wash bottle. Just a little bit of water, right? If you're at home, you've got a screen wash fault or your washers aren't working, a tip from a mechanic and some advice from a mechanic and just a beg from a mechanic, please don't fill the screen wash bottle up, because if there is a problem, we've got to empty it and it goes everywhere. There we go. So we'll fill this up with some proper screen wash. The wipers clear the screen, so we're happy. Let's crack on with the rest of the checks. We've got low antifreeze, so we'll check for any leaks while we're under there. Take the cap off, take the brake fluid cap off. So we've got 1% water content there, so the brake fluid's good. Vlad, stay there because those lights work perfectly. Yeah, it's on like -23, so that's about all right. So we'll leave the coolant cap off. If there's no leaks, what we'll do is we'll top it up with just a little bit of antifreeze and some water. Give it a little bit more strength. We want it to kind of be sat around -30. But to be fair, if it ever gets to -30 in England, bro, I'm leaving. Power steering's on max, so we're all good. Double check there's no leaks. Let's go up in the air. Before we go up in the air, we'll just crack the wheels up with a bar. We'll get it jacked up. We'll do all of our checks like wheel bearing, suspension, brakes, have the wheels off completely, and then we'll crack them with the filters. Just checking for any blemishes in the tyre, any cuts, any nails, anything that's not meant to be in there. This tyre's all good. Checking for any play in ball joints, any noisy wheel bearings, any binding brakes. And then same again, checking the tyre. Outer pad's got like 40% left. The pad's very similar. Checking all brake lines, everything. Get the bar in the brakes, make sure the caliper moves nice and free because these love to seize up. So we'll put the lever bar in on the pistons first, push the pistons back. I've pushed the piston back and the caliper does not want to move nice and freely. And you can see here where this rubber boot's come out of the caliper. That's meant to be in there to stop any of this dirt ingress. Just there, you can see all that rust build up on that pin. That's stopping this caliper from moving freely. And what that will cause is just premature brake wear, which is what I think we've got. Slightly higher worn at the top compared to the bottom. So the top comes in, gets stuck, and the bottom comes back out. So you get uneven brake pad wear. So we'll definitely be recommending a set of front pads. And that's why you always take wheels off when you're doing a full service. On these Peugeot Boxers, so these wheel covers, there is actually one where you can leave the wheel bolt in and take the wheel cover off. So yeah, again, front pad's getting low. Same this side, look. This top boot's popped out. So again, I'm not holding out much hope for this coming freely. Let's give it a press. Pistons move, but again, caliper's seized on that top one. You can actually see it better this side. You can see the bottom moving, whereas the top doesn't do anything. So again, that'll cause uneven and premature brake wear. So let's get a set of front pads on this. So again, same this side, checking everything else. Suspension components, ball joints, dust covers, bushes. You can see in here, that split there, and it started to come away at the top here. So we'll be recommending some lower arms as well. All right, Put the wheels back on, check the rear. And then always put your one opposite the valve. It keeps them all the same. So then this is always facing the same way, directional to the valve. Now again, you don't want to do this up too tight with the battery gun because it has to be torqued up. We're just checking the inner sidewall of the tyres. Make sure that this is alright while we've got it in the air. Shock absorbers, dust, bushes. Make sure that the leaf springs aren't broken and the bushes at the front aren't too bad. No brake bind, no wheel bearing noise. Tyre looks a little bit worse for wear. You can see the cracks in the centre of the tread there. We'll check the age of the tyre. It's probably the original one. So every tyre has a date stamp. Now this tyre was made in the 43rd week of 2017. Van's a 2018 plate. There you go. As you can see, this is moving fine. This is how the front one should move, but we will definitely be recommending a set of rear pads too. Now when we drove the van on, we checked the handbrake. Comes up 5 clicks. We don't need to be adjusting that. That's perfect. What is that noise? And this tyre's the same. Got some cracks in the tread there. Yeah, again, 43rd week of 17. So what that noise was, is unfortunately, some metal to metal brakes. Just there on the disc, you can see where it's kissed it metal to metal. The caliper moves freely on this side too. We need to say to the customer, unfortunately, it's going to be rear disc and pads. We've done all of our wheel side to side checks. Now we can do our underneath checks like our handbrake cables, you know, brake pipes, fuel pipes, exhaust system, our blue system. Make sure there's no cracks, splits, leaks, broken wires, anything. Ooh, okay. So you see up the back here, we've got a little mist of oil out of the inlet of that turbo. So that's probably a sign the turbo's on its way out. Auxiliary drive belt is good. Brand new starter motor. Everything actually looks pretty good. Love that. Let's get the oil drained out of it. While it's draining its oil, we'll put our notes on the tablet. The office will get that. We'll get the go-ahead as to whether we can do any of this. So fill out the tread depths. 7.3. So that's that. Service inspection now complete. That's fired off to the office. They can get that and then get back to me with what the customer wants to do. In the meantime, we'll crack on with the filters. So we're just interrupting you now for the pull-up session. Some bung in the pocket. That's extra weight. We don't need that. Oh. You get whiplash in a second. We've got a new washer on our stump bung. So we've just put a film of oil around that. Yeah, like that. We'll attack the air filter, which is there, and the fuel filter, which is over there. It's the dumbest air filter. These screws always rust up. Jesus. We did say that we had some oil around the turbo. I wonder why. This is what it should look like. What I like to do when I do fuel filters on these is I just take the headlight out. You don't have to, but it makes your life easier. And if you watch our TikTok, you know this trick. Just how it goes. Note what way this plug goes on. Because if it changes, you will get a code on the dash. I've done that by hand first, just because I don't like to go in straight away with the battery gun. But this one, it will only go back in one place. It does have a locating pin just on the back here. That is a dirty filter. You can see the dirt all up the edges of the filter housing. This has not been changed for quite some time. Got your locating tab. Put the screws back in. We'll cycle the ignition a couple of times just to make sure that it's priming the filter. Now that we know it didn't have any further issues with the wipers, we're actually topping up with some screen wash. Pop the antifreeze as well. On these Peugeot Boxers, pollen filter is behind this centre unit. for the life of me. Oh man, can you see that already? Turn it on, just figure out what way it's coming on your hand. It's coming this way. You get your new filter, the airflow is coming this way, you want to put that in, airflow this way, in there. So we're just cycling the ignition now just to prime up that fuel filter. It takes 0-30, so 6.6 litres. That's what we're going to put in it. Run it up. We'll recheck the oil level. There's no markings on the dip. I mean, there is, just. I'm going to have to really look now. We're just above the maximum, which is perfect. By the time we run it up, it runs through the filter. We'll be just under the maximum, which is bang on where you want to be. Must have primed up the fuel filter, all right, because it stayed running, so there we go. We'll turn that off. We'll recheck the oil level. And there we go. We're just under the maximum, which is bang on where we want to be. Last but not least, tyre pressures and torque the wheels up. These are 60 in the front and 65 in the back. We're a little bit low. Always put your valve caps back on, don't be lazy. Even lower in the back. Torque the wheels up. These are done up to 160 because they're 15-inch wheels. If you have 16-inch wheels, they're 180. After I've road tested it, I will come back and I will recheck them because sometimes there's rust around here. So always just recheck them. The service is done.